Hi, I'm Matt with Hoboken Horology, and today I want to bring you my top 3 picks for the top 3 new chronographs that are under $5,000 and are brand new to late 2017, early 2018. Now for this list, I have 3 chronographs that I want to talk about. And I think that they're worth mentioning because they bring something different to the table, and also they all happen to be underneath the $5,000 mark. I'm going to start on the very low end, I'm going to go to the mid tier, and then the higher end of this list. So for the lowest, the number 3 on this list is the Bulova Chronograph C. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I actually own this watch. It's what I'm wearing right now. And this watch is a great chronograph for the quartz market. It's a vintage, pretty much it's a reissue. And this is based on a model that Bulova made that was called the Stars and Stripes. And they only produced this model for 1 year, actually. But, you know, as I've said before, I actually have a review of this watch. This is a great watch. This strap is a vintage rubber strap a vintage rubber rally strap that I like to use. But this watch is a fantastic piece. For the price of $750, you can find it cheaper in other places. Sometimes there were a few pre-owned online. This is not good value for the money. It's a great watch. I really love it. A huge con for this would be that 46 millimeter case size. That immediately is going to scare a lot of people off of this watch. A lot of people won't even look at it because it's too large. I saw the promotional material. I read that case size and I said, there's no way I'll ever own this watch. I love it, but I'll never own it. And I went into the store, I tried it on, I loved it, and I had to get one. You know, this is a really cool chronograph. And all of the watches on this list, I think they really do fit really well with any strap. You can put on any strap on any of these watches, any of these 3 chronographs we're going to talk about. And I just want to say that the second hand on this, on the subdial, on the lower subdial, it beats twice per second. The chronograph hand, it sweeps. And the reset, especially on the minutes and the seconds, it resets amazingly fast, especially on that minute hand. It just flies back. It is such a cool watch. Now, one huge pro I would say about this is you get a strap from Bulova and a bracelet. I actually made a video about sizing that bracelet. It's one of those pin bracelets. But this watch, it's a quartz chronograph. I really don't think you could go wrong with this watch. It's a cool watch. It's different. It has that chronograph rally kind of feel to it. It's really cool. And I've been dealing with the size. It's very large, but I really do like it. It works great, especially in the winter. It's nice to have a watch that kind of, you know, sticks out of the jacket a little bit. So for my number 2 pick, and this was almost number 3, but because of the price, it's really number 2. This is the Longines Aviation Big Eye. Now this watch was actually, as I'm going to say, you'll see this in every review of the watch. They love talking about this. This was not in Longines' library. This was not in their collection. This is such a unique watch because the minute counting subdial is larger, hence the name Big Eye. And apparently this was something that was used on other watches of the period, but it's marked at every 3 minutes. And apparently this is for a specific reason that pilots needed every 3 minutes marked for one reason or another for some reason. And this watch is so unique because it has that vintage reissue case, but it's such a cool watch. It's a column wheel chronograph movement. And what's so special about that, and this is a huge part of this watch, is the price is $26.25. That's the price that I got from Hodinkee. It's a 41 mil case, perfect size, a little smaller than the Speedy, a little larger than 40, so it gets it out of that kind of vintage feel. You know, it'll probably wear a little bit smaller than the case size says. Put this on a khaki colored NATO or green NATO, and you have a really cool looking vintage watch. Even a black leather strap, I'd probably end up putting it on this vintage rally strap that I love using on almost all of my watches. This strap has gone on almost every watch that I've ever owned. It is a really unique piece. It is a fantastic piece for that price. Yeah, it's an ETA movement, but it's a heavily modified ETA movement. And I'm pretty sure that ETA movement is only specifically for Longines. So it's not like Swatch can just throw that movement in other watches, or Omega can borrow it or anything like that. Apparently it's only for Longines. It's really incredible. You get a lot of watch for that price. Longines themselves are really surprised at how well that watch is doing. And I would absolutely love to buy the watch if it wasn't for the number 3 on this list. And you know what? I just want to mention 2 things that I have in my notes here. I want to say that Longines Big Eye has 52 hours of power reserve and also has a solid case back, which is really interesting. And I didn't mention actually that the Bulova Chronograph C has no date, and this watch also has no date. And this is something that they didn't want to throw off the balance of this watch. It already looks completely unbalanced. The big eye, the big minute counter in the subdial is very strange. It's what gives it its name. It's what gives it all of its charm and its character. It's such a cool looking watch. And the thing about it not having a date is that they've already messed up other Heritage pieces, or at least I think they have. And I think a lot of early Heritage reissues have messed up by copying the design to a T, updating the bracelet, and then throwing a date in the middle of the dial, or trying to squeeze it in somewhere. It's just so annoying because Longines themselves have a couple vintage reissues that I would love to own, but I can't buy it because of the date window. It kills me. It's completely unneeded. It's not necessary at all. My number 3 pick is the Tudor Heritage, or Tudor Black Bay Heritage Chronograph. This is such a unique watch. The actual reference number, and I'm going to say the reference number for this, is M79350-0001. Now the reason I say that is because if you put in Tudor Black Bay Heritage Chronograph, it might come up with their other chronograph that they have on the market, which is, I could talk about that chronograph in another video because it's amazing to me the way that price for that chronograph has actually gone up over time. But this one is so unique, and I have to admit, I'll have to rewatch my older videos, but I'm pretty sure I hated this watch when it came out, and I didn't understand it. It's a bizarre looking watch, and I can understand. It's funny, Tudor usually gets a lot of praise for their designs. They get a lot of praises for how much their watches cost. But for this watch specifically, and their other Heritage, the Steel Diver that they make, there's been a lot of people that argue about this watch and don't like it and they hate it. And I can understand why. You basically have dive hands on a chronograph where you should be able to read those subdials. And the subdials are a little small. I'll say that too. You have problems reading it because you're being blocked, twice within the day, when the hour's at 3 o'clock, when the hour hand's at like the 3 o'clock position, it gets more difficult to read it. But this watch is a lot of watch for the money. It really is. You're getting a Daytona style case. I actually like this case. I've never owned a Daytona, but this case is, I actually like how the pushers are more pronounced. They don't really have a guard as much as like a Daytona case would. It's more specific to that kind of Heritage design. I like that the minute counter goes to 45 minutes. A lot of people are very confused by this, but if you look at a lot of vintage chronographs, there are a lot out there that actually had the 45-minute marker. They wanted to go beyond a half hour, but not as much as an hour because it gets difficult to read that hour marker. The interesting thing about this watch is that it has a movement that is made by Breitling, and Tudor is making movements for Breitling, and Breitling gave Tudor this chronograph movement, and it is a column wheel chronograph movement with a vertical clutch, And that just means that when you are basically starting the action of starting the chronograph, it is going to be in a way where the second hand will be more precision. It'll move more precisely through a round instead of having kind of a jump effect that some chronographs can have. It's amazingly precise. I actually really like the balance of the date window, which I was just complaining about. On this watch, it goes really well. You know, Omega has a lot of these twin subdials on the left and the right, and then a date down in the bottom. Omega's done a lot of watches like that, and I think that this watch has a really nice balance. And you know, it doesn't bother me that it's almost like a Daytona kind of copy of a case because it's made by Tudor. It's, you know, Rolex's younger brother's making this, and the bracelet. I've gone on and on about the Black Bay bracelets, how much I love Black Bay bracelets and cases, and this is no exception to that. It is a fantastic bracelet. You're getting amazing quality for the money, and the price for this is $50.50. It's $5,050. I know these are supposed to be under $5,000, but if you talk to your AD, which I have to say, that Longines that I mentioned before, that was $2,625. Now, if you go online or if you look around enough, you can probably get that really, really inexpensive. This Tudor Black Bay you can definitely get for less than $5,000. However, I strongly advise that you should probably buy it in a authorized dealer. Tudors are already at a great price. So I'm sure if you walked into an AD tomorrow, he can take the $51 off, including tax, and you can walk out with this chronograph for $4,999. This watch has something that is amazing, and this is the same thing with other Tudors, and that is that it has that 70 hours of power reserve, which is just incredible. It's such a cool thing. I mean, I have to say, a lot of my watch, I should say all of my watches are basically 40 hours, 42 hours, 48 hours. And when I take them off for more than 2 days, if I have a lot going on at work or I don't have a chance to wear it, and it really kills me, especially a dive watch or something with a screw down crown, that I go back to it after a couple days and it's wound down already. It almost makes me not want to wear it. I'll just keep wearing whatever I have on. But that 70 hours is fantastic. The Tudor says you take it off on Friday, you pick it back up on Monday, and it's still going. And that brings me to just the little things that Tudor does. They include a bracelet and they include a strap with it. They don't have to do that. It's like how much I like the Bulova. They include 2 straps. And if you're a serious watch enthusiast, you know, you might have a collection of straps. I have a lot of straps. And it's great that Tudor includes these extra straps, almost enticing their clientele to change straps on the watch and give it a different look. The only thing I'll say about this watch is the watch people, you know, the people who are really into watches are very divided on this one. A lot of people see it as amazing value for money. They see it as a great way to get a powerful movement, a 70-hour power reserve, and a chronograph in a Daytona-style case for under $5,000. And some other people see it as an atrocity that they put dive hands on a chronograph. Just saying that out loud hurts me. I mean, I can't even imagine having a Daytona that had Submariner hands, the Mercedes hands. It's not good. It reminds me of some of these reissues. There's one that just came out, actually, that has almost like dive-style hands on a chronograph. They have very large hands on a chronograph, and they're getting a lot of praise for it. It's bizarre. I can understand why there's hatred for it. I understand why people don't like the design. Looking at it myself, I'd really like to own one. You know, it would be great to have one. In the price bracket of under $5,000, there are so many watches you can buy. There's actually a lot of pre-owned Breitlings that you can pick up that are almost the same kind of thing. But this is a great all-around watch. And you shouldn't really lose too much on it. It should hold its value quite well. As long as you do okay speaking to an AD and you get it from an authorized dealer, buy it with papers, don't buy it without papers, and I think you'll do okay on it. So that was my top 3 chronographs. I usually wouldn't put a quartz watch on a list like this, but you know, this is the lowest end, which is still quite expensive, I think, $750. And then we have that mid-tier Longines, and then the high tier of that Black Bay. I gotta tell you, if I had enough money, if I had money, you know, saved up right now, and I was ready to buy a watch right now, and I was gonna buy that Tudor Black Bay, it would be really difficult for me not to pocket half the money and just go and buy that Longines brand new, because that Longines is a really cool watch. And dare I say that Longines would go better on multiple straps, more so than the Tudor Black Bay. I think the Black Bay is a little bit more limited. I mean, a black or black rally or my rally strap, I put everything on, would look great on that watch. But that Longines is really cool. It reminds me of vintage watches that I see in those, a lot of those, you know, the fighters, they're wearing those cool watches, the Dunkirk kind of, you know, he looks down at his Omega watch. I could just picture like that Longines big eye being on his wrist instead of that Omega. It's a really cool watch. It's so difficult because it is a chronograph with a column wheel, which my Speedmaster isn't even a column wheel. This vintage Speedmaster isn't even one. And you're getting it for that price range, for like $2,500. It's a good buy. It is. You're not going to lose money on it either. I mean, and even if you're going to buy one pre-owned, you're going to do well, because you're going to buy a pre-owned, and I don't see it dropping any more than whatever you get it pre-owned for. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and thank you for watching.